Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Mystical Wellness podcast. Today we're joined by Leanne from Neon Life Academy. Mouthful. And Leanne is a self-evolution expert, a certified hypnotherapist, somatic coach, personal trainer, and she has a master's degree in biomedical science. Leanne blends scientific insight with deep body wisdom, helping people harness the power of their subconscious minds and reconnect with their body's natural intelligence. And she takes a really fun and creative approach to wellness. And we've got some really interesting things to talk about this evening. So Leanne, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. It's really nice to come and be a part of somebody else's podcast. It's always a real big joy to come and just waffle on at other people about the things
Yeah,
I
you're
care about.
welcome. No, we're fascinated. We'd love to hear more about you. Tell us how it kind of got started for you and how you ended up on kind of where you are now, that trajectory. Your life sounds fascinating.
I never quite know where to start because it's never usually just one thing, and it definitely wasn't for me. And I never quite know which things to pick as being the pivot points and the starting points. But one of the main ones was I'd been working in the NHS as a biomedical scientist for about 15 years, and I'd been unhappy for about 15 years. I knew I wasn't quite in the right place. I knew I wasn't quite hitting the right spot. I absolutely loved the human body, and I loved, it sounds funny, but I loved learning about the diseases of the human body and how it works and the functioning of it and all of that. I absolutely adored it, but something just was not sitting right with being in that lab, and it felt stuck. I felt like I was stuck in the lab. I felt like there was nowhere for me to go. But I also had no idea what on earth I could possibly do. I had no clue because there's no transferable skills in that. There's nothing else where anyone would care in the slightest about that. So I really felt like I didn't know what else to do with myself. And then on an absolute random whim, I decided to trek the Great Wall of China for charity. And so obviously I had to go raise some money for that. And that year of raising money was so eye-opening to me that there was this whole massive big world out there, and I was missing every bit of it. I didn't know that it existed. It was mind-blowing. So anyway, raised all that money, went off, did the trek, and when I came back, I felt even more dissatisfied. I was like, no, I cannot go back into that, but I still didn't know what to do. Um, but I'd put myself out there so much that there was a personal trainer who just recently moved to my area, and she contacted me and asked me if I could have a meeting with her and kind of talk to her about the community because she was struggling to find the community. And I was like, well, there isn't much of a community where we live. That's why it's just really non existent. Went for the cup of tea, and by the end of it, she said, "You'd make a really good personal trainer." And I went, "Oh, okay then." And signed up to learn to be a personal trainer the very next day. And that's kind of how I make the big decisions, just instantly. That's what I'm doing. And right from the start of being a personal trainer, I knew that I was a whole mind and body and nervous system personal trainer. I knew that it was mostly a mental and emotional situation. I didn't know that that's how you'd refer to it. I wouldn't have been able to have used those terms and those phrases back then because I did not know anything about this side of health and wellness. I was very much traditional NHS lab based science. I did not know any of this sort of existed, but I still, even though I didn't know it existed, I still really identified with it. So much so that I never fitted in with any PTs. It was just chalk and cheese every step of the way. It was just not the one. So I very quickly set myself up very separately, very independently, doing things my way. And it's just evolved over time. And the first thing that I learned that I put into it was hypnotherapy, because I very quickly realized that every single one of my clients, it was massively a belief system issue. No matter what physical thing they'd come to me for, it was being held in their brain, in their mind. So I decided that I needed to be able to help them. I was like, I'm really quite good at doing it, but I feel like I want to make sure that I'm doing a good job. I want to make sure that I'm not shortchanging these people. Like, these people are coming to me with massive childhood traumas and they're holding on to things. And although I do feel like I'm doing a good job, like, oh, I owe it to them to really make sure that I am. So did not want to be a counselor. The thought of just talking to people about their problems all day just sounded awful, even though that's kind of what I do anyway. But it felt just really awful. We're just going to sit there and just talk at each other. It just feels so redundant. What, we're just going to sit and no, it just didn't feel right. And then I realized that one of my Facebook friends who was a hypnotherapist was going to start training people to be a hypnotherapist. And I thought of it as a sign and did the same thing again and just went, I'm going to do that. Signed up for that. And then more smaller courses all came in with tapping, being a tapping practitioner, breathwork courses. They've all just layered up over the years. Somatic coaching as well was the third biggest one that I popped on the end, because I suddenly realized that that is what I was doing. I just didn't realize that it had a name and a thing. And I went through this big somatic course kind of going like, oh, I already do that. Oh, I already do that. And it was just, I did obviously learn some new things. Of course I did. But a lot of it was just more validation of being on the right path. And, oh, this is actually a thing and it is evidenced and other people do this as well. And now I have no idea what I do anymore. That's why I call myself a self-evolution expert, because I can't really tell you what I do except for I just help people live a brighter, shinier life, because I spent 15 years in labs feeling very non-shiny and very stuck and very stagnant. And it hurts my soul to think of anyone living their life like that, because life is far too short to not be happy and not be fulfilled and not feel joy every single day, no matter what kind of challenges have come in your way or in the past or at the present. Every day you should be able to find some joy. And I think it's my responsibility to help people find that.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So what would it look like if you had a one-to-one client? How would you start that process with your client?
Well, ironically, after what I just said, it starts with quite a bit of talking. It is quite ironic. But yeah, because it really does depend on what it is people want. I mean, it's sort of like what comes first, and it is very much chicken and egg. But, you know, if you came to me because you have some pain, then we might start looking at, well, first off, your movement patterns. You know, is there something we can physically do in the kind of I'm a human movement specialist as well, so that ties into the PT work. Is there something we can do to change your kinetic chain movement pathways to make sure that you are, you know, working and moving correctly? Then they might be talking about, you know, things in your past. We probably do like some hypnotherapy and ask your subconscious what it needs, because it always knows. It always knows. There's always somewhere that we're holding on to things. So the first conversation very much is absolute winging it. And it is really difficult to explain that to people, that I can't tell you what we're going to be doing in any way, shape, or form, because it can go off in a million different directions depending on what you feed back to me. Depending on, and that's not just with the talking as well, it's what you feed back to me with your eye movements. So I'm sure you've heard of like EMDR. So I do a lot of bilateral eye movement stuff. I work with the cranial nerves as well. Then there's the body language comes in. If I can see, like if I had one person once describe that they came to me with anxiety, but they described their anxiety as a very, very physical thing, like electricity running through them. So instantly we went straight into nervous system work and did some hypnotherapy work. So it just really does depend, and it's very much up in the air. But that is what I personally love about it, is that every single person is going to be completely different.
So I was in like a corporate construction environment for 10 years, and going through like relationship breakdowns and things like that, overloaded myself with my shop and my events and traveling around the country.
Mm.
And my cortisol was super, super high. And then when I left my job in December, it's been 6 months, nearly 7 months now, my cortisol's still high,
Mm.
right? So my body's still in fight flight. And I've been
Yeah.
using that Genius biofeedback app, and it says my epinephrine's high. So my
Mm.
adrenaline is still high. So why do you
Yeah.
think that could be?
Well, lots and lots of different reasons that you'd need to drill down into a lot more. But the fact is your body is still remembering
Mm,
how it was. So you can change your belief systems and you can change your environment. But if you don't inform your body of the changes that you've made, it will still react in the way it's always reacted. And the accumulation of cortisol, it takes quite a long time to come down as well.
mm,
And I think one of the things that we forget is we try and rest to get rid of our cortisol. We don't always need to rest. Sometimes we need to be joyful and active. And people see it as I'm either working harder or I'm resting. And like they're the two options. And I think people absolutely forget about the joy portion,
mm,
especially when a lot of their joy is wrapped up in their work. So I see it a lot in self-employed people because obviously self-employed people, we love what we do. So it feels a lot like joy to us and it is joyful, but we have to remember it's still work. It's
mm.
still our means of employment, but we're just employing ourselves. So it's still work. We still need to find joy that's separate. So I would totally be encouraging you to one, probably do some kind of like tapping or body drumming kind of work to help release the cortisol, help get it flowing through so it's not stagnating, but also reprogram your nervous system by focusing on pure joy that isn't connected to your work in any way, shape, or form. And that doesn't mean just rewatching old shows that you've watched 50 million times and things like that. It doesn't mean doing things that are supposed to be fun.
Mm.
Like, if you don't enjoy going out with your mates and, sitting in a bar, don't do that. Just because they say that, oh, if you want to have some fun, go out with you. If that doesn't bring you pure joy, don't do
Yeah, I've never enjoyed that, to be honest, ever.
it.
But I do
I
do
think
laughter yoga, so that makes me, I bring in the joy that way. So I can laugh for
Yeah,
no
but
reason
again,
whatsoever.
see,
Yeah.
laughter yoga's part of your business, isn't it? A
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
true. I don't do it enough
It's the thing, it's so
anyway. It's part of my
hard.
business. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's really
something
hard to
that's
find
not,
something that isn't part of
mm,
your business. You have to find things to focus on. So
yeah,
for me, I have my camper van and I deliberately don't post about my camper van on
yeah.
Instagram, even though it would be quite a good thing because people love seeing
Oh,
them.
yeah. Yeah.
But I deliberately don't because I don't want it to even slightly be tainted by work.
Yeah.
I want it to remain a
Okay.
joyful thing.
Yeah.
And I do aerial as well. And
Mm,
aerial fits into a lot of categories for me. But again, I keep aerial a lot away from my page because I don't want that to be tainted by a
yeah.
work thing, even though
So
it's
is
really
that
difficult.
like ribbons or hoops, or what is your aerial thing?
All of them.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm
Okay.
ADHD, so I have to do all the things. So
Yeah.
hoop's my first love. I love the hoop. I do like silks, they call them. Ropes are lovely. I love a pole as well. I love all the
Yeah.
things because they are, for me, one of the most important things is that mind-body relationship.
Mm,
And you are never more connected, personally, I don't think, than when you're hanging 8 foot in the air upside down trying to figure out which is your left and right. Like
yeah.
which way,
That's
it's like,
insane.
yeah. It really helps bring you into your body and
Yeah.
remembering what's happening. And then there's all the lessons with, you think I'm never going to be able to do that. And then you do manage to do that. And that's never going to not hurt. And then eventually it stops hurt. Like this just, I could go on and on about how much aerial links into everything I do, but I deliberately have refrained from becoming instructor trained because I don't want it to become something that is a business related activity. I do post about things like that and talk about it a bit because it's such an obvious overlap for me, but I try and keep it separate because I don't want it to be something that I want it to be my outlet. And once you bring
Yeah.
it into work, it's not your outlet anymore. And so
That's a really
what I
good
would,
point. Yeah.
yeah. So what I would say to you is really ask yourself that question genuinely. Do you have an actual outlet? When was the last time
Yeah.
you read a book that had nothing to do with your work? When was the last time
No,
you listened to a
even the
podcast?
books that I have are still related to,
Hmm.
yeah, my cosmic work or whatever, yeah, or
Yeah, yeah.
Atlantis. Because I took
Anything.
2 books to the hospital with me, and one was literally about galactic stuff, and one was about Atlantis. But I still didn't get to read them because I was doing social posts on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
we
I
do
mean,
constantly. Yeah,
yeah, I've seen you. You're like you never stop, even though you are going through all of this right now, you're still going at
yeah,
it. And it's amazing and it's commendable. And of course, I get it because it's what you really enjoy.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you have to think outside
yeah.
of the box. What brings me joy? And that thing that they always say, don't they? Think about when you were a kid. What did you really enjoy when you were a kid? So I'm a hypnotherapy supervisor as well for the GHR. And one of the things I recommend to every single hypnotherapist that I mentor is to go back and find something that they just find lots of joy in. Because obviously the work we do it can be really heavy.
Mm,
A lot of the time, it's we're holding space for a lot of complicated feelings. There's a lot of energies flying around,
yeah,
and you need to be able to have the capacity to deal with them in every way, shape, or form. And I always say, go and think about what you do. Like, so if you used to love gymnastics, go find a gymnastics club. If you used to love singing, go find a choir. Like, whatever it was, go find what you used to love. That doesn't work for everyone because I did not have the most fun childhood. I was
mm,
raised as a mother. So from the age of 10, I was always looking after children. I mean, it started a bit earlier than that as well, to be honest. But from 10, I was basically, if I wasn't at school, I was watching about 4 or 5 babies. So I didn't have hobbies, I didn't have friends. And I
yeah,
think that's one of the reasons why I am so adamant about fun and joy now because I didn't have it back then. But I do recognize that it's difficult to say to somebody, think about all the fun stuff you used to do when you were a kid, because not
mm.
everybody had that kind of childhood whatsoever.
No, no. There was a period when I was little when it was ice skating. And then a
Mm,
couple of years ago, I thought I'm going to start ice skating again. Even got myself the boots and everything. But because I've got the arthritis in my ankles, I was
mm,
absolutely terrified on the ice. And that wasn't like me years ago. I could
mm,
do jumps and things like that, and I was just carefree. And now
mhm.
I was terrified. So ice
Yeah,
skating is out right now, but
yeah.
maybe one day.
Maybe one
Um,
day. Well, see, this is the thing that like I would help you with if you came, because I'd be like, okay, well, we can go in and we can work on that belief system and reframe that so that you're not so terrified. We can
yeah.
also do hypno healing to work on your arthritis, all those kind of things. But also equally, without even, coming to me as a client, think of other things. What else could you do? Because I am determined there's always something. There's
Yeah,
always something that a person can do to bring some joy in their life. It might not necessarily be their first choice. It might not be an easy pick because maybe you didn't have a childhood where you can just go, oh, do you know what? I used to love doing that when I was a kid. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
What I say is, if that's the case, that's even more exciting
Mm.
because that means you can just go and explore things.
I love to travel. I'm a traveler, and I've
Mhm,
been kind of stationary for nearly 10 years now. So
mhm.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Every
Yeah.
psychic I meet, they're going to me, I'm getting this pull to travel. And I'm like, yes, it's very difficult. So
Yeah. So you
I'm
should
dying
travel,
to go
but
traveling. Yeah.
you should also not, I don't mean completely and totally, but you should refrain a little bit from turning it into, how can I leverage this
A
for work?
blog and yeah, yeah, travel blog. Yeah.
Yeah, you not everything has to become a
Yeah.
work-related thing.
Because even when we travel, there's still an element of quantum healing. So we go and do grid work wherever we are, we connect
Mhm.
into the land, do healing with the land. But that's still really fun, though, I think.
It
But it's
is
not
fun.
something I do
Mhm.
every day. I don't do
Yeah,
grid work every day anymore and things like
yeah.
that. So, yeah, that would be interesting.
This is why it's difficult because it is genuinely fun. It is
Mm,
genuinely fun, and it's not about not doing it or finding other things. But if you want to truly rest your nervous system, you have to
yeah,
have some true downtime. Some time when you are connecting with yourself and connecting your mind and your body and your nervous system in a way that isn't performative in any way, shape, or form. It's
yeah,
purely for joy. And if for me, I think it's a bit of a blanket statement, and I'm not a fan of those, but anything that comes into a work situation, even if it's the most fun thing in the whole wide world, that is then it's become a performative joy, and your
yeah,
nervous system still sees it. It's still got the tick lists. It's like, did you have fun today? Tick. Like that already now, just creating a tick list of, was it
yeah,
fun? Did you do it? Like, that's performative, and your
yeah,
nervous system doesn't know the difference between work and performative kind of joy, because in your nervous system's language, that's the same thing. It's still a tick list of things you're supposed to achieve. A
yeah.
rest day is meant to be a rest day. Some people treat their rest days like they are gonna get some kind of like bonus for doing it right. Like, oh, I've got a
Mm,
rest day, so I need to book to get my nails done, and I need to make sure that I have a book so I can read an hour. That's not a rest day anymore. Even if all those items on the list are restful and joyful, that's just performative tick
mm,
boxing. Your nervous system doesn't know it can stand down because it feels like it's still got to work to tick. So
yeah,
your cortisol's still going to be really high.
yeah. That's a good point. Tell us about body drumming, because that sounds really fun.
Body drumming is something I find really difficult, which is why I quite like it. Um, but body drum is basically like using your body as like a percussion instrument, or
Mm,
and it feeds very much into the bilateral stimulation of your brain and connecting your brain and your body by getting your lefts and your rights to do different things, different patterns, different sounds. And then it also links in with what a lot of people know more about, EFT and like tapping. So obviously you're tapping your body, you're releasing stagnant energies, you're getting things flowing. And just that
mm,
act of, doing different things at different times on your body means that you can very much be you're switching on different parts of your brain which link up your amygdala, because you're bringing that in, and then again another link in the breath work that goes with it. So you
mm.
end up, you can get very energetic doing breath work, doing body drumming as well. So it
Yeah.
it can, raise your heart rate in a fairly gentle way. It's another one of those things that just links into everything. But for me, I find it a lot of fun because it's quite noisy and it's quite joyful. And then when you get it wrong, it doesn't matter that you've got it wrong, but you're like, oh, and then and it makes you want to go again. And then
Yeah.
the act of getting it right has literally built new neurons. And we all know that we need to keep doing that, or we end up losing all the grey matter that we've got. We need to keep building that grey matter.
Mm,
Meditation works, but meditation for me is not a strong point. Being still and quiet, and it's a difficult thing for me. So for me to meditate, I do the neuro art or the bilateral drawing to kind of meditate, whereas
mm,
body drumming is a form of meditation, but it's a much more active, participatory kind of one that brings me
mm.
joy. Anytime you laugh, that's always a bonus because the nervous system now thinks that you're safe. So whenever you are feeling pain, sometimes obviously it depends on the kind of pain and the level of pain, but some good things to do when you're feeling pain can be to do body drumming, because it literally rewires your nervous system away from that and makes you realize that you're in a safe place because you're doing this instead. So I don't need to be on high alert because of that pain. And then if I'm not on high alert, I won't need to create the pain. So the pain levels will decrease. So there's just like so many overlapping like benefits for it, for mind and body, but it just links all three things, the mind, the body, and the nervous system. It just links them all together in a really fun way.
Yeah, that's great. I was looking for my rattle because I have like an African rattle, and I actually hit myself with it. That's one of my cleansing
Yeah.
routines in the morning. So it's quite funny, and it's just light touch, but it kind of, I do it on all my lymph nodes, my sen lines, my meridians, and I go through my full
Yeah.
body, like spanking myself with a rattle kind of thing. So it kind of
I
wakes me up.
I always describe it a little bit like you can do all these things to release energy and release feelings and things like that, but sometimes they do get a little bit stuck, like ketchup in a glass bottle. Like,
Yeah.
you can take the lid off and you can hold it upside down, but it doesn't mean things are going to start flowing. Sometimes they need a little to like get them going.
Yeah.
And that's why tapping works. That's why the body drumming kind of works. The ADHD in me just loves it when something has so many different reasons to do it. And for me, I'm really quite obsessed at the moment, especially with just making sure that I remain cognitively functional, because I've always been a little bit, what was I saying? What word is that? I've always been a bit
Mm.
like that. And then I'm 44 now. So I'm starting to notice me losing my train of thought more, calling body parts the wrong thing, asking someone to move their elbow and wondering why they're not doing it, and then realizing 10 minutes later I didn't say elbow, I said ankle. And I'm like, oh.
Okay.
So like it's become a big thing. I'm like, I really want to make sure that my cognitive functions
Mm.
are firing on all cylinders for as long as possible. So whereas tapping is very good for rewiring nervous systems and beliefs and processing traumas, body drumming can do all of those things, but also help build up the grey matter.
Yeah.
And I really, really think I need that.
We all need that. We all do, definitely, because we're all kind of entering into perimenopause, menopause stages, and it does mess with you. It does.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It absolutely does. It does change things. And I think that's the other thing that I really try and get across to everybody, is that there is no right way to do anything. There's no thing that's going to work, because as soon as you find the combination of things that work for you, you change, your environment changes, your body changes, you're another year older, your hormones switch up, you live closer to the sea or further away from the sea, you get a new neighbor that sets your nervous, like there's always something that you always need to have as many tools in your back pocket as possible, and dipping in and out of them and choosing the ones that you enjoy the most. And that's partly where the Give It Some Welly thing has come from. So I absolutely prefer to work with people one-to-one, because it is a very unique thing to work through if someone has an actual issue or a goal or an aim that they want to get at. But a lot of things, it's just about knowing that they're there and having that tool to use. So like having doodling patterns or some body drumming rhythms that they can work through. And then bringing it together into classes as well, because some things are a lot of fun when you do it together in a class. Like body drumming is fun in a class. So just trying to make sure that everyone tries all the different things that are out there. There's so many different modalities, and I believe we're not all meant to use all of them. We're meant to try them all out and choose the ones that suit us the best. And that's difficult to do if you get too hooked on one thing being your savior.
Yeah. So if someone was feeling stuck in their mind or their body, what's the first kind of gentle step that you might suggest they take?
I would definitely say go and do something really, really fun, and then come back and do some body-based journaling around the feeling of feeling stuck. Like, where are you feeling that in your body? What does it feel like? Describe it. Get to know it. Maybe even I'm a big fan of personification. So, like, name it, and ask it questions. So, when you found it, even if it seems really weird and it's like, yeah, it's this like sort of dull thud in my left butt cheek. Okay, fine, let's go with that. We ain't questioning nothing. We'll go with it. It's fine. And she's called Deborah. Ask Deborah what she wants. Ask Deborah why it's so much easier to ask Deborah than it is to go, why am I stuck? It's much easier to create something that is very much more tangible and ask that tangible thing what it's wanting. Why is it scared of moving onto something else? If you're so stuck there, why can't we do this? Why are you wanting me to be here? Just asking all of those questions, but then mostly going and finding some joy. I swear, joy is like it's just a kick up the backside in every way. No matter what is happening, no matter how bad your day is, going and finding some joy every single day for me is absolutely critical because it's going to help in every way. It's going to help every person in every way.
Is this something that your body's taught you that your mind would never have thought of?
Oh, that's such a good question. And I have no idea, but I'll probably wake up at 3 a.m. with an answer.
That's okay.
Oh,
Oh, that's really funny.
yeah.
So you do. Go on, I'll give you a minute.
That's such a good question. It's because a lot of things are really chicken and egg. One story I do like to tell sometimes that, and it's not quite the answer to your question, but it always makes me smile, is I remember when I had my appendix out when I was 18, 17, and it was right before I was meant to be starting university. And me and my mum, we didn't have a great relationship at all. But she walked me to the train station that day because I just had my appendix out. So she walked me to the train station. She wasn't awful. She was just she had a lot going on with the other kids. She was more just neglectful, so she walked me to the train station, and as we were walking, I was like, like holding my stomach. And she was like, oh, is it okay? Is it feeling fine? I was like, yeah, no, I've just got like bad guts today. And she just really offhandedly said, oh, that's because you're feeling anxious about today. And I was like, no, I'm not. I feel absolutely fine about it. What do you mean? And she went, no, you always get like that. Whenever you're anxious, it always goes like straight to your stomach and you feel, like, and it's such a common one, isn't it? But I was oblivious. The point is, I was like, no, she's absolutely wrong. She's like, where's she got that from? And the reason I like telling this story most is because it's not like she had some great insight to me whatsoever, because she was a very neglectful mother. But she knew that better than I did. And I always think it's really interesting that someone who paid me no attention whatsoever knew what my body was telling me better than I knew what my body was telling me. And it is such a reminder that it's so easy to not listen to what your body's telling you and to be oblivious to what your body's telling you. And even to this day now, I never feel anxious or stressed about things ever. But I do get that gurgle in my stomach. I do get that and every single time it happens, it stops me in my tracks now. And I think, oh, hang on, what's not right? But in every other way, all of my thought processes, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever. And then my stomach starts doing that. And I'm like, oh no, there is though. So even though it doesn't fall into categories of feeling stressed or anxious in the way that I would describe it, I trust my body now when it tells me that.
It's become like a spidey sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But I think it's just really interesting how we are so oblivious to what our body's telling us. We're completely oblivious. Like some woman, my mother, who doesn't really know. She knew that. I should have known that. And it always baffles me. I'm like, how did I not know that? It's crazy. And so I always encourage everyone, whenever you feel anything in your body, have a chat with it, ask it questions. What's that about? Why are you hurting again, shoulder? And you'll start to build up a pattern and know your body better. And it might be the most random thing. It might be like, do you know what? my left little finger arthritis starts playing up when I feel sad.
Mm,
I don't know I feel sad, but I notice that my finger starts playing up, and it can be
yeah.
the most weird things.
One thing that I've noticed this week, which I never would have thought before, is on my hand, on my right hand, this
Mhm.
section is
Yeah.
numb. And
Ah,
then, so when I Googled it and did a hand map, it literally is leg. It represents my leg. So how weird is
wowzers.
that? So
Yeah.
yeah, because I've just had the surgery, so my leg was obviously damaged, and I've noticed it because I was kind of rubbing my hand. I said, why does that feel different? Why does that feel
Yeah.
so different? So I Googled it and I got a map of the body on the hand. So I know
Yeah.
that I need to pay some extra attention to this to heal my leg. I've got to work on my hand as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so weird.
fascinating.
Your body's always talking to you. It's always telling you
Mm,
something, no matter what it is. And sometimes the answer's quite obvious. Like I think the gurgly stomach one's pretty
yeah,
obvious these days. Like that's a very standard one for anxiety.
yeah,
But it's always trying to tell us something, and those messages, and they are gonna get through whether you like it or not. So our mind is always trying to tell us something, and our
mm,
mind is going to talk to us in whatever way it can. And the biggest thing it has at its disposal to manipulate is your own body. So it's going to manipulate it. It's going to create pain somewhere, or it's going to fluctuate with your hormones somewhere. It's going to change, your nutritional profile needs. It's going to do all these different things to try and talk to you. So I always think, no matter what your body is doing, your body is a reflection of what your mind is trying to tell you. So listen to what your body's saying in an attempt to listen to the mind. The only struggle is it's a little bit like the age of everybody's subconscious is 6 or under. So it's like trying to understand what a 6-year-old is telling you whilst
yeah.
using like a Ouija board. It's like it's not easy. It's like
No,
really difficult. You're like, "What do you mean?" Like, I know that's a message, but what do you mean is like a very common kind of one
yeah,
to kind of go through.
that's really funny. Oh, so your business is called Neon Life Academy. Where did you get that name?
It's really weird actually because it's always been that. So from the very moment when I decided I was going to be a personal trainer, I came up with that name, and I just kind of spitballed a load of things out. Like obviously I think I just wanted it to be something colourful, and I was talking about life and
Yeah,
this, that, and the other. And I honestly, they came together, and I went, do you know what? After about 3 million years, it feels like that's good enough. That'll do.
yeah,
That's fine. And I just picked it, and now I can't believe how perfect that
yeah.
name is for what I do now.
Mm,
And it feels like a little kind of validation of your subconscious always is talking to you, because even back then, it knew that I didn't know any of what I was doing. I didn't know any of these things. I didn't really appreciate how the mind and the body connect like I do now. I
mm,
didn't appreciate that I was going to want to help people to live a brighter life. I didn't know any of those things, but my subconscious
yeah.
mind obviously did, because now I'm like, I could not pick a better name than that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty awesome because you're very bright and bubbly and uplifting. I know, so it really does suit you. Yeah, because in my head, you're just neon. I call you neon all the time. Yeah. So, what are you working on now? What's this next project that's coming up?
Oh, there's so many next projects though. ADHD brain, of course.
Mm,
So one of the reasons I became a supervisor for the GHR is because a lot of you're meant to be supervised for a certain level of length of time after you've become qualified. But so many qualifications don't actually offer that. You just kind of get abandoned and just left. And it was one of the very many things where I've gone, are you joking? Like the amount of times I've said about different people's trainings. Like if I was going to do a certification, I would offer included supervision. So I thought, well, I should probably stop saying that, because I'm a big believer if something is annoying you, you should do it properly yourself. And so the amount of times I'd said things like that, and like, oh, I can't believe that I'm obviously in some hypnotherapy groups on Facebook and things like that. And it's like, which which script is best to use with this complex sexual childhood trauma? And I'm like, none of them. Put that client down. If I was doing a certification, and I was like, I've got to stop saying that. So I asked to be a supervisor just so that I would have it in, thinking it would take a while. And they were like, yep, you can, that sounds great. And I was like, oh, I feel like, again, that's the universe saying it's the right thing. So the next thing is to do a certification and get it pushed through so that I can help train the next lot of hypnotherapists in a way that is, I feel, not going to leave a load of people going, if I was going to do it, I'd do it like this. So that's my kind of the more professional, like business heady one.
Mm.
But then my more fun one, as I see it, is the Give It Some Welly membership. So that is very much still evolving. That is off the ground though. And it's an online membership where you can find lots of different courses on lots of different things. So you can delve into all these different modalities. You can like put up a YouTube video and try some of that body drumming. You could, look and see the different neuro art patterns and get involved in that. There's an anxiety course. I just need to edit some videos still for that. It's such a long process, and I know you know this bit. And this is what I mean about fun though. That's my fun project, and it's already become a little less fun because I'm like, ugh, but edit stuff.
Yeah.
So like a hypnotherapy anxiety course, you need to start people off on being able to change the belief systems around anxiety. And then also with that though, there's it's like a place for me to put all of my groups that I do, which isn't many. Like I say, I'm a one-to-one kind of girl at heart, but I'll often do some classes or some workshops and things like that. And so rather than dilute what's going on my social media with the Neon Life Academy page, I can put it on the Give It Some Welly page instead and lean much, much less into the neuroscience side of things and just but it's just fun. Come and have a laugh. Come and put your wellies on. Come cuddle a donkey and doodle a drawing and welly wang. And like,
where do you get these donkeys?
There's donkeys. There's this farm. There's a wonderful farm that I use, and she has St. Bernard dogs and donkeys and horses, and you can go there and see them. So I take people there, and we kind of just have some time in the fresh air, do a bit of forest bathing, literally just like grooming the donkey, and it's everyone just goes home feeling a bit more.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really nice place. I'm going to do something a little bit bigger there. But I've not quite decided what, because as you can probably, it's like there's always all the ideas, and
I'm the same. I've got so many ideas. I could probably just start selling ideas and just put them out there. Because as I wake up, it's like ding, 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 ding. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, there's so much all the time. Yeah.
I want to do much more retreats as well, but I'm trying to hold back on retreats because I don't want to bring more in. So I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put myself out more as a guest person. So I can guest on other people's retreats. So I'm still doing it, and I'm still involved, and I'm still getting a part of that, but it's not all on me to organize and market and decide and all of that. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to just keep with the pop-up workshops and classes and things like that for the Give It Some Welly. And then the online tutorials and videos and audios. And I've got such a big back catalogue as well. Like there was a time where for 2 years solid, every month I would create a recipe book with 30 different recipes in.
Wow.
And they're just sitting there on my computer doing nothing. So I was like, I need to make use of all of these little things that I've created over the years. So that's going to go in the Welly membership as well. So it's still it's live, but it's still in the build up process. But there's just so many things that I can put into it. And I'm quite excited for all these things that I've created in the past that have just sort of not had a place for a while to get some use. Even if only one person likes the recipe books. At least that's one person who's getting use out of them now. I'm a
Yeah,
big
it sounds
believer in
awesome.
reusing things and
Yeah.
repurposing things. So it makes sense to do it with my work as well.
That sounds amazing. This has been so good. We'd really love to have you back on a regular basis, to be honest.
Oh,
And
yay.
tell everybody how they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, all your services, your websites.
So the website's going to have a bit of an overhaul. It always is having an overhaul, but the website is, well, in every place, if you put in Neon Life Academy, you should find me. Basically. So the website is www.neonlifeacademy.co.uk. Email is hi@neonlifeacademy.co.uk. I am Neon Life Academy on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest. And I think as well on YouTube. I need to do more on YouTube though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully it's reasonably easy to find me because Neon Life Academy is the core of everything. But also WhatsApp. I love a quick WhatsApp. So you can totally do that as well. So that's 075 400 855 84. And you'll always get me because I'm not fussy. Like people can contact me in any way, shape, or form on any platform.
Yeah.
It's all coming through to the same phone anyway.
That sounds amazing. Oh, thank you so much.